So, hi everyone, thank you very much for joining us today and buckle up for another session, deep dive webinar. And this time we're going to talk about the integration between Nutanix and CloudGuard. And I'm hosting today two special guests, Adiraj, which is a principal product manager in Nutanix, and he was the product manager of Flow. And Daniel Markin from Checkpoint, he's still the project manager for Nutanix integration. And the way it's going to work today is that Adiraj is going to start by presenting what is Flow and to give an overview, background of how to use Flow and background on Nutanix. And then I'm going to take it with Daniel, and I'm going to show you actual integration, how to deploy CloudGuard on Nutanix, how to configure the environment, and also we will run some attacks and show you some traffic on a real environment. So Adiraj, you are welcome on board, and you can share your slides. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. So let me get started. Let me share my screen, and we can get started right away. Perfect. I assume everybody can see the screen and can hear me. Perfect. So I'll get started because we have a long way to go and we have a lot to cover. For this introduction, I'll cover Nutanix a bit and focus on the Flow security portfolio, and also talk about the service insertion, which essentially is used by many of our partners. One of our key partners, including Checkpoint, which will give you an idea of how do we enable partnerships and give capabilities to our partners to leverage the insights, and they can build solutions on top of it. All right, let's get started. So this is a quick overview of the Nutanix platform. So Nutanix is an HCI based private cloud solution, which has now expanded into hybrid cloud management as well. It has a plethora of services which range from the AOS Prism, which is our management layer, AHV, and Carbon, which is a Kubernetes-based management layer. Then you have the automation operations, which includes Prism Pro, which uses the insights, machine learning algorithms to help you manage your infrastructure. Calm is our orchestration tool, very similar to CloudFormation in AWS, if you will. And Beam is our cost management service. And then we have a layer of all the storages, object, file, and block storages, which are provided as part of our native solution. Then you have the security portfolio, which is our product, which we'll talk about more in the session, Flow. And then we have many other services which enable you to manage your services better, business continuity, including DR, mining, etc. We have our native application services as well, which includes VDI, XiFrame, and we have a database as a service called Era. So this is just a quick overview for everybody of what all Nutanix provides. So let's get into why Nutanix is a great starting point for cybersecurity and ensuring your workloads are secured. So our foundation is HCI. It's a leading HCI solution. And it's easy to build a cybersecurity framework on top of HCI, primarily because it removes the complexity of the infrastructure and the stack itself. It has built-in functionality, so we can provide you a lot of capabilities plugged in, built into the product itself. And the cost of ownership is drastically reduced rather than you managing your different components and kind of tying the knot across different services and managing the security framework for your infrastructure. So how does the complete stack look like for Flow? So at the bottom, you have, with Nutanix, you can have any hardware. It doesn't matter if it is Nutanix or any of our partner solutions. One of the key layers or stack that Nutanix supports is the compute, storage, and networking. So compute is the AHV, storage is AOS, and the networking, which is essentially the foundation for Flow, which provides us the capability of providing policy enforcement based on layer 4 traffic and microsegmentation solution. On top of that, we have our management layer, which is called Prism Central, which is a very intuitive management layer for you to manage your infrastructure as well as your applications. Calm is an important component. Now, I think we'll cover a lot of deep dive when Daniel will pick it up. So Calm is our foundational orchestration service, which is very similar to CloudFormation. So what you do is you write blueprints, you define your need in terms of the stack that you want to bring up. It could be scaled into multiple stacks, and you can not only initiate or create stacks, but you can also manage, operate, do bulk operations using this Calm blueprint, which also includes, managing your policy framework and ensuring the integrations with third-party solutions, including Checkpoint that we'll do today. So there are two key components of Flow. So one is microsegmentation, which is the core of the product. And we have a plethora of integrations with third-party solutions, which helps you to have scalability in terms of layer 4 to layer 7 enhanced services, which I'll let Daniel cover. Although in terms of Flow, you have two components, microsegmentation. I'll do a quick deep dive into some of the core functionalities. Plus, we also have a SaaS solution. I'll do a quick introduction of that as well, which enables you to provide a lot of compliance and planning use cases. Let's look at microsegmentation. So because of AHV and the HCI core solution, Flow has been able to provide you native policy management and policy enforcement solution. We have a lot of focus on visualization and ability for you to discover traffic and analyze the traffic so that you can write better, high quality policies. We have segmentation, which helps you to, differentiate your applications based on your application framework, and you can secure and isolate your environments along with it. A quick overview: Flow is a line rate stateful firewall for each node. So it's essentially focused on your VM to VM microsegmentation, east-west traffic. Help you to kind of isolate your entities based on the east-west traffic within your data center. And it is managed through PC, which is our central management plane. And you can manage or enforce or monitor, deploy your policies centrally using that PC. Another key differentiator for the product is that it is application focused. So if you have application focused categorization or tagging of your applications, so this becomes a natural partner for you to manage your secure your infrastructure based on your application framework. So it has a lot of capabilities in terms of application centric policy management. And of course, our biggest focus has been to ensure that you have a lot of visualization and monitoring capabilities, which helps us to give you the capability to be on top of your infrastructure and your traffic flows and traffic patterns, so that you can actually write the right policies which make an impact rather than being one step behind of your infrastructure needs. So how does it work? So at the infrastructure layer, so there's no change needed. Flow comes inbuilt as part of the AHV AOS, OBS. So you don't have to do any instrumentation for using Flow. So if you buy the Nutanix stack, the AHV stack, you automatically get Flow along with it. So all you need to do is enable the license and you're ready to go. So it's essentially plug and play in that sense. All you have to do as a user is to categorize your infrastructure. In this case, I'm using a 3-tier web app database. So you just categorize your VMs and define the policies. For example, a very simple example, you say, okay, web can only accept traffic from HTTP 80 or 443, and web can talk to app category VMs on 8890 and so forth. And of course, the management is, I discussed about the Prism, and Flow is also part of Prism in general. Calm is essentially, as I said, is essentially it's very similar to products like CloudFormation, where you can, and Terraform for that matter, which is an independent product. So you can just write, not only write in scripts, but also you can actually use our interface, user interface tool for Calm, which again, Daniel will do a deep dive for, which you can use to identify and define all the infrastructure stacks that you would need. And in fact, even manage the flow parameters and flow insertions, and for that matter, security postures for your infrastructure. Some of the key use cases for flow security includes application segmentation, environment isolation. One of the key use cases is, you want to isolate your production environments from all the other environments. It could be dev staging. Teams could have different infrastructures. Different teams could have different geolocations is an important component. So you can actually isolate different infrastructures, which again is a big use case for our customers. VDI has picked up in the last 1 or 2 years as teams have started to work remotely. VDI, securing the VDI infrastructure has become very critical, and Flow provides native support not only for external or third-party VDI solutions, but we also have our internal VDI solution called Frame. And compliance is, again, as you can imagine, it's a very key important use case that we support today. How does the experience look like? So this is a typical policy. Where you have in the center, you have the secured entities, the entities that you would want to secure. It has an app tier DB and app tier web. So you have already tagged them. And you have defined the inbound and the outbound in terms of who can talk or who can send the traffic, and who all this entities can send traffic to. So it's basically bi-directional in that sense. So it kind of covers the security posture from all directions, if you will. In the policy, we also show you all the traffic which is blocked or is trying to contact your entity. So that also gives you inline view of your policy plus the actual impact of that policy. So this gives you the real-time capability to analyze your traffic and see, oh, maybe this IP address is required as part of my infrastructure needs. Before a dev engineer comes back and raises the ticket, I better add this IP address as part of my policy definition. So how does the policy management work? So we talked about the Prism Central and the Flow interface, which is available as part of Prism Central. So you define, you do the categorization of your infrastructure. You assign categories to different VMs. Once you do that, you can write your policies based on which VM protocol, which ports, which services, which address groups can talk to what. And once you do that, you just enforce it. Now, enforcement is actually done at the data plane layer, and it essentially is distributed across the OVS switching. A quick example of an isolation environment. So it doesn't matter which VLAN your VMs are using, because the enforcement of policies is at the VM layer or at the categories layer. So it doesn't matter where your infrastructure is. So you could have the same VLAN, it could be any other different VLANs, could have a complex architecture. All you need to do is categorize your VMs based on what departments they are in and what kind of applications they are running. And once you do that, you just isolate your different environments. And you can also define application-based policies as well. This is an example of an application policy. You could have, a web application, app servers, shared services, or MySQL. All you need to do is, again, categorize them, define the app tier, web app, database, and shared services. And you just define what inbound policy, for example, in HTTPS for web tier is going to be ideal. And you can also define outbound. These Apache servers can talk to, let's say, the app tier applications, and so forth. So it's fairly that simple. In fact, we also allow you to define whether the VMs within a specific tier can talk to each other as well. So this gives you a lot of granular control as well, which is sometimes needed based on your use case. Okay, so we introduced a Flow ID-based security as well sometime back. So this is just a quick overview of what that does. So what we do today is that we, synchronize, if you of course allow us to, synchronize with active server. And if a user, for example, from a specific department and he's trying to access a specific machine, so we'll use that information to talk to AD Active Directory and ask him whether this user has or what all permissions this user has. So we'll capture that information. We'll do log scraping, and we'll automatically tag the infrastructure based on the access flow. So this is very powerful, and in case you are trying to automate your policy categorization, you can leverage this capability as well.
Yeah, so Adia, thank you very much for the wonderful overview. And Daniel, are you ready to start?
Yeah, sure. Let me just share my screen and I'll get started to introduce the demo and the whole integration of the CloudGuard secure network security integration with Nutanix.
Awesome.
Right, so let me just real quick introduce myself. My name is Daniel Mirkin. I'm an R&D project manager in the CloudGuard Gateway and Infrastructure Group. I've been along with Checkpoint for 5 years now, and hopefully for additional period. What I'm about to present here, I hope that you can see my screen. And I'll give a quick introduction of the solution overview. Can you see my screen, the solution overview?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what Nutanix and Checkpoint have partnered to deliver here is basically an integrated solution, which Checkpoint CloudGuard enables companies to realize the full potential of their hybrid cloud infrastructure with Raj mentioned on the Nutanix AHV, the Nutanix Acropolis hypervisor, while providing the protection against potential vulnerabilities, malware, and other sophisticated threats. Now, the Nutanix Flow ability to secure the layer 4 traffic is augmented by the CloudGuard industry threat prevention capabilities. And basically the joint solution for the Nutanix data center effectively addresses one of the key challenges of the modern data center network while we secure the workloads at the perimeter with the Checkpoint next-gen firewall, and segments the east-west traffic within the perimeter and within the virtual environment using the granular layer 4 policies with the layer 7 checkpoint inspection. Now, what you see in this diagram, we basically have the network, the CloudGuard security management here is the IDS controller on the top. And we have in our environment, in our demo environment, we have a cluster, a Nutanix cluster with 3 nodes within it. Each of these nodes will be deployed with a Checkpoint CloudGuard network security gateway. And we will be able to deploy these gateways, assign them to a service chain automatically via Nutanix COM blueprint, which we've created. And this whole, Adiraj mentioned the solution itself. What we've done here is basically the inline solution where the bridge mode, it's actually inline, it's the bridge mode operation, which intercepts the traffic and has the ability to block the traffic before it's sent along. So this solution is bump in the wire solution. So the bridge network functions have the ingress and egress interfaces. So in the diagram which you see here, the VNF, in this turn, the checkpoint CloudGuard security gateway, the virtual machine A traffic is redirected through a bridged CloudGuard security gateway for deep packet inspection and sent along after this, this inspection to the B virtual machine. And following configuration is deployed on every AHV host within the Nutanix cluster. So let me just real quick get you with an overview of how our solution look like. So we've used several Nutanix components, which Adiraj mentioned. We've used the Nutanix COM, which is basically the automated infrastructure that allows us to deploy this whole thing automatically, easily, and also create the service chain and assign our CloudGuard network security gateways to it. And in order to allocate and assign and add these gateways to our network security management, the checkpoint security management, we're using the CloudGuard management extension, the CME utility, which basically allows the auto provision using the CME into the CloudGuard management. So in one click, you can basically deploy the gateway, assign them to the service chain, and add them to the CloudGuard security management. Let me just real quick show you the topology and the environment, and we can all delve into the demo. So in our Nutanix cluster, we have, as I mentioned, 3 nodes, and we will be deploying a gateway on each of these nodes, and we'll also show the traffic generation between different nodes, the east-west traffic. And the reason we need to have a firewall on each of these nodes is because this is a host-based solution, meaning in order to inspect and enforce the traffic on each individual node, you must have a separate gateway on each of these nodes. Therefore, we have, as I mentioned, 3 nodes, 3 gateways for this. So without further ado, let me introduce you with the environment itself. Now, this is, as you can see, is the Nutanix Prism element here. These are the cluster here, and we have node A, node B, and node C. And what we've done in terms of the solution itself, we've created a Nutanix COM blueprint. Now, Nutanix COM blueprint is, well, if I need to equivalent it with public cloud, it's sort of like the CloudFormation infrastructure in AWS. So
CloudFormation template.
CloudFormation template, of course, yes. The CloudFormation template in AWS, where you have different parameters that you need to insert within the template, in this case, our gateway blueprint. And once we've added all these parameters, we can easily and fast deploy our solution in the environment. Now,
but Daniel, I would suggest that we will start from the flow that we recommend the customers to go and start from the CME. So customer that wants to deploy it, he needs to first install the latest CME. Basically the CME should have support for Nutanix in the GA. Currently, it's not a GA. And if they want a package that support CME, that support Nutanix, they need to get it directly from you, right, Daniel?
Yes, correct. We have a dedicated SK that we've created, and we can provide this package for the interest individuals. Hopefully, by end of month, we will release this product, and it will go GA, and it will be the general package for the CME.
So basically, so for someone that has a CME package that already been deployed on the management, it's going to get the update automatically. They don't need to do anything, right?
Yes, correct. The CME is an auto-updatable utility which will auto-update, and what you will have is basically the capability to auto-provision the Nutanix, the CloudGuard security gateways to the security management automatically, yes.
So if someone wants to deploy it right after the session, they need to approach you, right, or me?
Yes, yes. I will share here the SK that it's currently an internal checkpoint SK. It has no access from outside, but it has all the links within. And once we'll go GA, it will be the general package for the CME.
And again, what is the time frame for the GA?
The time frame for the GA is end of month.
End of?
Month, end of this month, end of June.
End of this month. Ah, okay. Nice. So to start configure the CME_menu, or you can use the CLI command, right? You have the
correct, correct. Now what we've done here, we've actually added the Nutanix data center to the CME menu here, along with other vendors such as public cloud vendors as Azure, AWS, GCP, and the VMware NSXT solution. And what customers will do, the system administrators will first create the Nutanix Controller. The Nutanix Controller in this case is the Prism Central. So we're connecting the CME to the Prism Central. And once we will, I have a ready environment already. So we have the Nutanix Controller here up and running. And once this controller will be created, we'll be able to also create a Nutanix template. Here you can see this Nutanix controller, which is connected to this IP, which is the Prism Central on our end. And once we've created this controller, we will also configure the gateway parameters, which means that we will create a gateway template. Now, meaning within this gateway template, we will need to enter several parameters. The first parameter is the SIG key. And once we've added, Once we've added the SIG key, we will need to choose the gateway version that we're going to deploy. Now, these parameters will need to be compatible with the parameters that we will later on add within the Nutanix COM blueprint, so that the CME utility will know which gateways it needs to provision to the security management. Now, along with these two parameters, the SIG key and the version, the user will need to choose the policy of which to deploy on top of these gateways once these gateways will be powered on and provisioned and so on and so forth. And in this case, I have a policy ready called Nutanix Flow Policy here on this checkpoint security management. So no additional policy will need to be added right here. Let me just quick show you this template, how it looks like. So we have a Nutanix template R81 gateway up and running here. And it also has the ability to, within the template, not from the menu itself, but from the CLI commands, the ability to add different blades to the gateways, so that the gateways will be provisioned with the blades that you are interested in from the beginning.
So basically, it's going to deploy a gateway, and you have the parameter. It's going to be R81 gateway with firewall only, as you didn't configure blades for this template. And then it's going to deploy, also install the policy that you configure on the CME. So just to make sure that everyone on the same page, the CME every 30 seconds is going to check is going to talk with the prism to check if there are new changes on the prism, if a firewall, a new gateway was added. If it was added, it's going to configure automatically to build it on the checkpoint management. If the template has blades, is going to configure the blades, and then is going to push a policy, the policy that you choose on the template is going to push it to the gateway. And if a gateway was removed from the Nutanix, the same is also going to remove it from the management.
Yes, if the Nutanix COM application was deleted, all the gateways along with it and the service chain which was created with it will be destroyed. Now,
okay, so we configure the CME.
Yes.
And now,
just before we delve into the Nutanix COM blueprint itself and the deployment, I would like to show the topology itself. Currently, I already prepared two Nutanix Flow gateways, which are connected to a service chain called FW chain. And once we will be done with the deployment using the Nutanix COM blueprint, you will see that additional 3 gateways will be added here. And the service chain called CPOS chain will also be created within the Nutanix data center. So in terms of the Nutanix COM blueprint, we have several parameters that are that we can.
Daniel, I want to make sure we are on the flow. So first, we need to download the image that we want to deploy, right?
Yes. All right. Yes, correct. In order to deploy a specific security gateway image, we need this image to be available on the Nutanix data center. Now, it's fairly easy. You go through to images from the Prism Central or from the Prism element of the specific cluster. And we basically add this image from a local file or from a specific URL. Now, the image that is being used here is the same image you have for other private cloud vendors such as OpenStack, KVM, or other solution. This is a main train solution. So in this case, no gold image is required here. This is the same image used for others as well. And once we've uploaded it to the Nutanix data center, we will be able to choose it, to clone this image locally from the Nutanix file manager.
Okay, and then you need to download the COM, right? The blueprint, the template.
Right. The template itself is, yes, thank you, Shai. I'm running towards the solution itself and the deployment, but there are several steps that need to be mentioned here. Now, the blueprint itself is a JSON file which has within it all the configuration predefined, meaning there is the hardware specifications, a cloud init script where we insert several firewall or bridge parameters in order for this solution to work. And once we've uploaded this solution, again, from your local disk or from a different location, you will be able to enter it and see this menu right here. This
Daniel, where can I find this this JSON file? The template.
Right. So the blueprint itself is within this SK. We have an SK called CloudGuard Network Security for Nutanix, and it has here all the overview of the solution itself. A part of it, there's the deployment instructions for the CloudGuard security for Nutanix Flow. And here you can see the CME bundle package, which we've mentioned earlier, and also the JSON file here, the checkpoint blueprint for the Nutanix COM.
So you download this package, and then where you upload it again?
You download this JSON file from here, and you simply upload it from this Nutanix COM infrastructure. You see here, there's create blueprint. You can, within this infrastructure, create new blueprints, but you can upload it right here. You choose to upload the blueprint, and once you upload it, it will be shown here, and you will be able to deploy the solution itself.
Okay, so once you have it, what is the next step? You have the blueprint?
Right. Once you've created it, you will see this menu right here. We can choose the name. The blueprint itself is configurable. We at R&D does not recommend configuring any parameters here apart from the hardware specifications. Now, in terms of hardware specifications, we recommend between 2 and 8 cores per vCPU. We do not recommend changing here the Cloud Init script because, as I mentioned, it has several firewall parameters. Without them, the solution will not operate properly. We need to configure the image from which the solution will be deployed from. And also the management NIC interface of the gateways that needs to be chosen from the list of available management NIC interfaces.
So each gateway is going to have 3 interfaces, 2 in bridge mode.
Now the other two are related to the bridge interface. The ingress and egress interface are already here and are not configurable and should not be modified.
Okay.
And once we've configured these, we can launch the application itself. We will choose a name for the application. Let's say Daniel Miracom app. We'll choose the gateway version. Currently, we support R81 and above, but we have R8040 here as well. And we choose the admin shell, similar to other
clouds, yeah.
Yes, other public clouds templates, and other parameters such as password hash, the ability to upload and download blade contracts from Checkpoint. The SIG key itself, now it is important that this SIG key will be compatible with the SIG key which we earlier configured within the CME utility. And of course here, the Checkpoint gateways count, which will configure the number of Checkpoint gateways to be provisioned in the AHV cluster, meaning if we in our case have 3 nodes within our cluster, and we would like that each of these nodes will be inspected and the traffic will be inspected of each of these nodes and enforced, of course, we need to deploy the whole 3 of them. And once we click create, the whole deployment process will start. And approximately 7 to 10 minutes, what will happen, the gateways will be deployed, each on a separate node. The Nutanix COM infrastructure know how to deploy the gateways each separately on a different node and set the affinity to this node and this node only, so that there will be no overlapping gateways within the same node. And also, I would like to show you a network function provider category will be created. This is a special category that will create the service chain and assign these security gateways, the Checkpoint security gateways, to this chain. Now, as I mentioned previously, I already have 2 gateways deployed here that are assigned to a firewall chain here. But apart from this chain, once the deployment here, once the provisioning of the Nutanix COM blueprint will be finished, you will be able to see that additional policy called CPU OS chain will be created. And with this creation, the 3 gateways that I've just deployed will also be added to this service chain. Now, apart from this, while we are waiting for this creation to complete, we can follow up the whole process of these three gateways creation and the Nutanix COM, within the Nutanix COM infrastructure. The gateways will be deployed and ready to use after they will be shown right here in the security management itself. Now, while we're waiting, we can also configure the Nutanix security policy itself. Now, the idea here, as Adiraj mentioned, we can choose the policy to redirect the traffic to specific assets and specific virtual machines to allow specific traffic to be from the outbound and from the inbound sources. In our case, to simplify the solution, I've created here a policy which redirects all the traffic, whatever it is, through this FW chain, this firewall chain, and all the traffic that relates to a category called an app type category, which these three virtual machines are related to, so that any traffic whatsoever, as you can see here, whether it's inbound or outbound traffic, will be redirected and going out from this firewall chain will be redirected through the firewall chain, so that we will be able to inspect and see the traffic and the logs within the security management, and the whole traffic will be inspected by the checkpoint security gate.
And by the way, so you can exclude, for example, you can exclude or permit just specific ports, right? So you don't have to move all the traffic through the chain.
Of course, you can choose here several, you can choose within the Nutanix UI specific ports or specific protocols which you would like to redirect here. So you have also this ability right here if you do not want to do it from within the checkpoint security management. And also, once the deployment here of the Nutanix COM will be done, you will be able to see here an additional chain called the CPUS chain, so that you can redirect the traffic through it. And
Daniel, what's happened during time? Let's say that I'm adding additional hypervisor.
All right.
How do you make sure that another gateway is being deployed to the new hypervisor?
Okay, so let's say that's a very good question. Let's say your cluster is growing and you would like to add additional nodes to the Nutanix cluster, and you would like to scale up the security abilities. So Nutanix COM actually gave us the ability to scale up once the creation of this will be done. You will be able to scale up additional and provision additional checkpoint gateways to the data center, to the cluster very easily. So whether you've added 2, 3, or 100 additional nodes, you will be able to easily choose the amount of additional gateways you would like to deploy here. And this is something that the Nutanix COM infrastructure actually gives us and provides us for free. So this is a very strong capability that allows us to automate the security if our data center, if our cluster is growing. That's a very good question.
Daniel, is there a use case where you deploy more than one gateway on an hypervisor, on one hypervisor? Well, is it supported? Like you cannot scale, it's not scaling group, right?
It's not a scaling group in this case, no. So if you would like to do it from the Nutanix COM, we do not support this capability. Actually, the Nutanix COM infrastructure will provide an error stating you already have a gateway that is already deployed on this specific node. So if you would like to make the scale bigger and add additional gateways to the specific nodes, you will have to do it manually and redirect and reroute the traffic, not via a service chain. So this is not supported here.
But if you have several service chain, you can deploy a gateway for each template. Like you can choose to, can you deploy more than one gateway into different, with two different templates on the same hypervisor?
So you can have multiple vendors. We're not, you can have multiple vendors other than checkpoints on the same cluster, but the gateways, all the gateways that are deployed within our Nutanix COM blueprint are assigned to the same, as I mentioned, CPOS chain. So this will not be provided and will not, we're not supporting it. But you can have multiple vendors on the same cluster, on the same Nutanix data center. Yes, we do provide this.
But more, just to make sure that we are on the same page, more than one gateway from checkpoint is not supported on the same hypervisor.
Correct, right. Well, it's not supported using the Nutanix COM blueprint, but you can manually deploy additional gateways if you choose to, but it will not be automated. And the, yeah, it's not, it will not be automated in this case. This is a good question. So
okay.
Let's see if our provision is already done. Yeah, we're up and running. So this is very exciting here, although we can see that we're up and running. Let's see if our service chain has already been created. Yes, we have the CPOS chain here. We have the value here is checkpoint, and we have the 3 additional gateways deployed here, gateway number 1, gateway number 2, and gateway number 3. And each one of them resides on a different node, which is—
so now you can go, you can switch to the policy and you will be able to redirect this chain, right?
Correct, yeah. So if we'll go here to the security policy here, we should have the ability to redirect the traffic from this new service chain, not from the firewall chain, which I already had on this environment, but from the CPOS chain. Maybe it's a UI thing that needs to be refreshed here so that the CPOS chain, it may take some time between the deployment and yeah, there you go. CPOS chain right here. And we can also choose to redirect the traffic through it. Also, you will be able to see here the 3 additional gateways that has been deployed and added automatically, as you saw, to the security management here. They are lacking several blades here, not unlike this 2 gateways that I previously had. So this is something that we can configure within the CME template if we would like to deploy specific blades along with it.
By the way, Daniel, is there any limitation on a bridge mode that you can mention?
Bridge mode limitation, yes. So the bridge mode limitation here, it is also mentioned within the SK. We are basically inheriting all the bridge mode on Gaia OS and Secure OS limitations, which you can see in this particular SK. Apart from that, this is a normal bridge mode. You can see this is one of the Nutanix Flow gateways that I previously had. And you can see the bridge deployed right here. and ETH1 and ETH2 interchangeably are the ingress and egress interfaces on these gateways. I can show a bit traffic redirection and enforcement within. Shai, do we have additional time to do that, or we can?
Yeah, and another thing that we have in R81, I think it's also from R8040, right? The controller. So we have added controller for Nutanix, and we can pull categories from Nutanix Prism, right?
Correct. So additional capability that we've developed, a feature that is not directly related to the Nutanix flow integration here. We've added the ability to add the Prism Central, the Nutanix data center, to the Checkpoint Security Management. As you can see right here, we have a data center called Nutanix. And once I will choose to create it, you will need to, similar to other clouds such as NSXT, such as VMware and their NSXT solution, you will enter the hostname, the IP of the Prism Central, and the administrator username and the password. And once
doesn't it, like in ACI, it's need HTTPS / or just the IP?
No. The host name itself, the port here is automatically generated. The port here, it's a good question since the port here is 9440, but it's hard-coded within the solution itself. So there's no, as you can see here, we do not need to / it and redirect it to a specific port. And what we will be able to do here, this is a Nutanix controller policy we have. We'll be able to import from this Prism Central virtual machine, specific virtual machines to the security policy.
And so basically categories. We are not working with VMs.
Yeah, I have here categories. Well, we have here the ability to choose independent VMs if we would like to choose a specific IP, specific virtual machine, or categories, which are basically can be group of virtual machine bulked together. So as you can see here, we have CP servers category where within we have 3 different IPs, and it makes the whole policy creation and enforcement fairly easy.
Yeah, so and by the way, for people that doesn't know how the controller works, so if VMs are being added to the category on the Prism, they are being added automatically to the management, and also push to the update object on the gateways. So they don't need to install. You don't need to install policy. Everything is populated automatically to the gateways.
Correct. So whether you've added additional virtual machines to this category, you do not need to install the policy.
And also, if you are working with DHCP and IP addresses are being changed to the VMs, it's also the changes also populated automatically and being pushed automatically to the gateways without the need to install policy.
Yes, what it does in the backend, it basically probes the data center every 30 seconds. The CloudGuard controller probes the data center every 30 seconds and provides the updates on the fly so that you do not need to install policy every time you make a change. Well, this is pretty much it. We are looking for additional early availability customers. So if you have any interest or customers that are interested in these new features in this product, please do not hesitate to contact us, and we will continue this. I think this is it from my side.
Do you want to show actual traffic? How does we will prove that it's working? The solution is working?
Sure, of course. Yeah, sure. Let me just real quick generate some traffic here to, so we have here a fairly simple policy. We have here ICMP rules where we will generate traffic, east-west traffic from a Windows server and two servers that resides on a different node. So I'll just real quick return to the topology itself. So we will be generating traffic from this Windows client underneath the 172.16.8.64 and to the 10.0.204 east-west traffic.
And by the way, on the gateways, you also deployed the IPS. This is not the, we are talking about the gateway that has already been deployed, right?
Right, yes.
Not the new one. It's not the new one.
It's not the new one since we do not deploy the, we did not redirect the existing security, Nutanix existing security policy to redirect the traffic to the new service chain. So it will be redirected through the old one, but you will have to trust me on that. It works.
And also, so you deployed also the threat prevention policy. So if you will create like an IPS
also
attack.
I have an IPS large ping also that will be. So here we are within the 172.16.8.66 Windows client here. In this case, it contacts a node on the, it contacts a server on the, additional node A. This one resides on node B, and we should be able to see the logs right here once we will refresh it. And it is now 12:09 in Israel, and you can see here the ICMP traffic being inspected and caught right here, where we have the destination here as the 10.0.204 and the source as the 172.16.8.66, which I've just generated. I can similarly generate a CURL request to the servers in on the additional node, and you will be able to see here where it also caught this. It's 12:10. You can see the session here, which also we have the application control blade turned on here, and the source here is the Windows client, which we've just generated the traffic from, and the destination is the server in the backend. I can also show what Shai mentioned. The IPS, which is turned here, we have a fairly simple large ping IPS, which should be blocked right here, where we generate a ping where the MTU is larger than 2500, and it should be blocked by the gateway as well. Let's see it in the security management logs here. So Blades IPS, let's refresh it. And we can also see it right here, 12:11, the IPS threat has been neutralized.
Yeah, but in this scenario, Daniel, you show access via routing, like the two VMs that you are connecting, you create a connection between the two are on separate subnets.
Correct.
But it's also going to work. It's also going to work if you send to the service change VMs that are in the same subnet.
Yes, so of course. It will operate fairly similar. I can show it also for VMs on the same node. I have here this is the 10.0.204, which resides on node A, and I can generate traffic to 10.0.203, which is currently blocked since, well, I don't know why, but it should be operating, but the traffic itself should work. And also the east-west, yeah, for some reason, maybe it's blocked for some reason. Let me see if I'm allowing this traffic at all. I haven't tested it for a while yet. It should be allowed here. Let me just for it.
So,
oh, as you know, demos are.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter now. Let's move forward. Let's see if we have questions. I had one that I've already answered in the Q&A. What happened? There is a question. What happened if the CPU memory suddenly increase? So you have like tremendous amount of traffic. You have a spike. What can you do? So there is no scale. You just need to be with enough resources on this gateway to make sure that it can operate once there are spikes. So you need to predict the spikes in the traffic.
Yes, correct. We need to be able to predict the spikes, and there is no countermeasures in terms of scalability on a specific node. So the countermeasure, which I can think of, is basically deploy an additional gateway manually and redirect the traffic through it. But we do not have a scaling up capability where gateways will where there will be more than one gateway on top of the same node.
Daniel, when you're saying deploy another gateway, additional gateway in each node manually, you're also saying to create another service change and to separate the traffic. So some of the traffic, some of the ports will go to one gateway and another will go to a different gateway. This is what you are saying?
Yeah, basically, yes. Meaning, well, the service chain itself can be created not only from the Nutanix COM blueprint, but it can also be created using the Nutanix APIs. So there are also disabilities. So once you may expect to have large scale traffic on a specific node and you would like to be prepared up front, you will have to create an additional service chain in order to use it and to deploy additional gateways manually.
But for now, you will have to do it manually if you want to add more than one.
Yes, we do not support it yet. Correct.
What about license? So each gateway need a license. From what I know, I'm not a license expert, but you need
I'm not a licensing expert as well, but according to product management, you need to have a license per core as other cloud vendors per CPU, meaning if you have
three, like in our example with 2 CPUs, so you need 6 cores. This is what you say.
4 cores, yes, 4 cores. We have 2 vCPUs and 2 vCPUs per core, so you need to have 4 cores, yes.
Okay, let's see if we have other questions. Guys, if you have other questions, this is the time. So let's wait another minute.
I would like to just show the ability, what you've mentioned earlier regarding the scaling up and if you're adding additional nodes to the cluster. So as I mentioned, within the Nutanix COM infrastructure, you have here the scale up ability. And once you've added additional nodes to the cluster, you will actually choose the amount, the count number of the additional gateways, the additional checkpoint gateways to deploy, and it will deploy them, add them to the already existing Nutanix, checkpoint app that was created previously.
Okay, so Daniel, I think we don't have more questions. And guys, I'm going to send you the recording and also all the material by tomorrow end of day. And if you have any questions, just approach me on Checkmates, send me a direct message, or you can reply to the post. I'm going to create a post with all the recording, with all the stuff and the Q&A. And Daniel, thank you very much. And we have another session for America at 7:00 p.m. If you want to join this one, you're more than welcome. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.